All right, what is up, guys, and welcome to I forgot what episode number this is.
That's kind of good
Number
though. Like
yeah,
we've been
that's
doing.
that's yeah. We're showing some, you know,
I forgot what the word is.
yeah. I forgot the word.
Consistency.
Consistency and persistence. There we go.
Yeah.
We're really pushing forwards with this podcast slash audio stuff. So here we are today. The semis are done, and now quarterfinals are done, and
Semis.
now
Semis are done.
semis. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm stupid. I'm sorry, guys. The semis are done, and we are officially into the final. That is going to be 2 days from now. It's going to be Sunday, and oh boy, we have a lot to talk about. We're gonna have a little bit of fun. Actually, we don't have that much to talk about. What am I talking about? This is probably going to be one of our smaller episodes that we're gonna have.
We have like this World Cup, the games to talk about, and maybe some summer transfer stuff.
Yeah, there was a few like trades that just occurred, according to Adrian Woj.
Oh, you got a Woj bomb?
Yeah, he announced some stuff such as Jeremy Lin. We're going to talk about Isaiah Thomas. We're going to talk about other players, but yeah, let's go ahead and start off with France versus Belgium.
Okay, I'll start off.
All right, go ahead.
I think for like the first 30 minutes, Belgium was like really, really good, and they should have honestly gotten a goal in those 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, it was just France domination.
Yeah, the second half was France to have, and kind of like you said, like how you predicted, and you were right. How one of the teams was going to get a goal and then just go completely defensive. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, because that's what they had done. Like, both of them had done that against. At least Belgium did that against Brazil, and France had done that before. And France was like, they were both built to just counter and just defend. So I mean,
exactly,
it just goes into their strengths.
It was a corner. It was not the greatest of marking on
MTT.
Yeah, and he just got a header. After that, it was just kind of like France was playing on the defensive. Belgium didn't play particularly poor, though. I wouldn't say that. They kind of played their own. Their midfield wasn't the best, though, and
it was the worst game I've ever seen from De Bruyne.
Yeah, that's their midfield was kind of lacking, and that's kind of like what led to them not being the best. And like you said, De Bruyne didn't have the best of games. Their midfielders didn't have the best of games at all.
And their French center backs just took Lukaku out of the game.
Yeah.
And Hazard was like, whenever he cut in, he just wouldn't look for the pass. He was looking for the shot like every time.
Yeah.
So that didn't help.
That is true. That is very, very true.
So, a little more passing would have helped.
Yeah.
But did you...
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, okay, I'll go.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think France deserved the win. Like, honestly, it should have been like... Belgium should have gotten one, but it should have been like 3-4-1 because Giroud just missed so many chances.
Yeah, Giroud went... it's Giroud. That's all I gotta say. Like,
at this point, is it even worth playing Giroud up there?
Yeah.
Like, he's good in the air, but he just doesn't have feet.
Yeah. Like, he was kind of like Sterling, but
worse.
We'll get to that later.
Because Sterling at least got himself in that position, right? Like,
right.
This is like Mbappe doing the hard work and getting Giroud just to open goal.
Yeah.
And then he just misses it every time.
But France had like a very nice, like, imagine Cavani on France. Like, that would just be absolutely insane. Like, but besides that, like, it easily could have been 2 or 3 if Giroud could sort out his feet. Mbappe really showed his worth and why he's probably gonna he has next right after them. And that's really all I have to say. France had a good game. Belgium as a team didn't play bad, but their midfield was not the best.
And we've seen in this World Cup that bad midfield games will lose you the game. That's why Croatia's gotten this far.
Absolutely.
And
if you can hold that midfield, it'll really, put you through.
Yeah, and Mbappe was just able to take advantage of those slow backs for Belgium. And also Belgium had their starting right back out, so they just abused Chadli on that side.
Yeah.
Chadli just got destroyed. But, I mean, we saw that Croatia was able to, defend speedy attackers, at least against England, so it won't be, the first time that they see speedy attackers, so it'll be interesting. Did you see Hazard and Courtois' comment?
In England now?
No, but did you see that Hazard and Courtois comment afterwards?
I think I did. Was it the one where he was like, wait, actually, go ahead. Never mind.
It was like, I'd rather lose to Brazil than to win like this or something like that, because like they were mad that France was just sitting back and defending.
Yeah.
But that's what Belgium did for like 60 minutes against Brazil. Yeah. So they were just really salty, that's all.
Gotcha. Sounds like something.
It sounds like Belgium, honestly.
Yeah.
They're just a bunch of cocky pricks.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a lot of players.
I mean, yeah, but like Lukaku didn't say anything, which I'm kind of impressed with. If I was him, I'd be mad at the rest of the team for not getting him the ball.
Yeah.
Because if you're not giving your... Like, I think like he didn't even have like a... Like, maybe not even one shot. Maybe a shot, but just it wasn't any good chances. And the one time was like in the 87th minute when like Hazard gave him like a 40-yard ball that was already over his head. And Hazard's like, why did you miss the ball? And Lukaku's like, I'm not 7 feet tall. So like, you can't ask the man to like just chuck balls at him and expect him to make a play. You got to give him good balls at his feet.
Yeah, and also like you said, Hazard was a little bit too selfish with the ball.
Yeah, he had some nice plays.
I remember him like going down the line and just trying to like cut in, or just trying to keep dribbling it down the line instead of just like taking the easy cross when he had it.
It was kind of weird though, because like it was like they were kind of baiting Hazard to just go in, because Pavard wasn't like really stabbing at it. He wasn't really like attacking Hazard. He was kind of just letting Hazard come in, and maybe
he was containing him.
Yeah, he was letting Hazard come in a bit and then cut back, because they knew that's what Hazard was going to do, at least for the most of the part. Hazard had some nice plays, but then he had to cross that ball, and he never really did.
Yeah. Yep.
So England, Croatia.
The trigger levels. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so triggered.
I'm not. I'm so happy.
Oh my gosh, I am so triggered. Oh my god. Absolute garbage of a game.
I don't think it was a garbage game.
100% to blame.
The refs?
Yes.
No.
There was one where they had a cross. It clearly went off one of the Croatian players, and he was like, yeah, it's a goal kick, when it should have been a corner.
Okay, but like I don't find like those problems to be big. I find like missed red cards or like missed penalties to be big.
I'm just messing at you.
I know.
Anyways, let's get into it.
You can start off.
The first half was electrifying for England. It was a great first half, like probably one of the best halves they've had in a while. They had a free kick. They had a through ball where Harry Kane he got a through ball and he could have scored. It could have been 2-0, but it like hit off what's the Croatian goalkeeper name?
Subasic. Yeah,
it just like barely went off like the back of his heel on his foot.
But I saw somewhere online, it might be wrong, that like Harry Kane was offside for that one, but he might have been on.
But I mean, they didn't call it.
I mean, but with VAR, they can always go back. Like the side judges are like.
Then he tried to score again, and then it went off the post. Then they called offsides on that one.
Yeah, that one was offside. But like side judges have been told not to call offsides if it's close, because VAR is always just going to check it. Yeah. Because all goals are checked. So Kane had the worst game so far.
Yeah.
Like to be honest, Kane has just beaten up on crappy teams. Like
you could say that.
2 against Tunisia, right?
Yeah.
And then 3 against Panama. So that's 5 of his 6 goals.
Mm-hmm.
And who else did he score against? He didn't score against Belgium because he didn't play that game, really. Colombia?
I think it was Colombia, actually.
Yeah, because it was a penalty.
Yeah.
Because he got a penalty against Colombia. So yeah. He's been trash in the knockout rounds, in my opinion.
I wouldn't go as far as to say he was trash, but
it wasn't really his fault though, because
have been overrated.
Yeah, it's been overrated, and it wasn't really his fault because of it confuses and boggles me of how tactically inept and uncreative and stagnant England is. Like they only have one way to play, and if you're beating that way to play, they're just going to hope that it goes to penalties.
Yeah, like
Southgate has been praised for getting them this far, but like he doesn't have that extra leg or that extra that plan B or something.
Yeah,
Which is really frustrating because you have months to prepare and this is all you've got. And then even with the system, a lot of players are not playing where they'll maximize, like Dele Alli and Lingard.
Yeah. So by the second half, I think after halftime, the Croatian manager or coach, or whatever you want to call him, was able to figure out the tactics that England had, and they found a way to counter it.
Yeah, because England was playing Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
England really, they got, I've never seen a team go from so much, having such a great game to what England had in the second half. Because one, the crosses that Croatia kept having, cross after cross, shot after shot, and then it ultimately led to the Perisic goal.
But I didn't understand how they were giving it up every time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, we had a game today, right? And they got a cross, and if they kept getting crosses from one side, we're going to send men to that side, or at least help them out. The forwards will come back, or everyone's going to help out a bit. You're not just going to let them keep crossing.
Exactly, and it just kept happening. Crosses, shots, all the stuff. They just kept hammering England over and over and over again.
And if that happens, a goal is going to go in. It doesn't matter how jammy or how lucky it is. They deserve a goal if that happens.
Yeah, and the only way that it even got into extra time is because of Pickford and how great of a job he's been doing.
Pickford and the left post.
He's done phenomenal. This entire World Cup. If it wasn't for him, just forget it. It would not have lasted. They kept hammering him. They kept going after it. England had very few chances the second half. It was all Croatia. And then leading into extra time, it just kind of fell over with the coaching and stuff. And then it ultimately led to that Mandzukic goal, where I swear, I saw that header by Perisic to Mandzukic, I was looking, and when the header went, three of the players around the ball were not walking, but they were slow jogging. And I thought I really thought they called offsides or something. I was like, okay, so let's stop. And then Mandzukic just comes and just scores, and I was just like, wait, what? And then it counted and all this stuff. I was like, why was nobody running? Why was nobody doing anything? They looked lifeless and they needed something. And honestly, I just feel bad for Pickford because he put everything he had on that team and what he had in that in the semis, and just for his team to get upset like that, it was just crazy.
Well, it was kind of because so England plays a 3-5-2, and so that was working really well in the first half because Croatia it was the first time they had basically come against a team that wasn't 4-4-2 or had four in the back. So it just it naturally takes some time to adjust to such a big tactical difference. So yeah, England dominated the first half, but once Croatia really understood what was going on and was able to adjust, they got England to naturally change on the pitch. It wasn't Southgate telling them to change. It was just they were pushed back into a 5-3-2. So now you've got you've got five in the back, and you've got three players in the mid, so that's it's kind of numerically it's even for each teams, but arguably all three defenders, when you all three mids for Croatia, if they're ranked from best to worst, and all three mids for England if they're ranked for best to worst, every mid at 1, 2, and 3 is better for Croatia. So obviously Croatia had that advantage in the mid, and then they just hammered. I think it was the right side with Verselko. They just destroyed Ashley Young. Ashley Young was gassed by 75. And then with they got Kyle Walker had a brilliant first half. But then once he got hit in the gut, with that maybe a Perisic long shot, he was just complete
I know what you mean. He got kind of I know what you he fell down and he was on the ground for
Walker gave up that first goal. It was he went up for the header and he could have just easily kicked it away. And then when Pickford had that save in the first half of extra time, Walker was the one that gave that away. And I feel was it Walker might have lost the header to Perisic that allowed the second goal with Mandzukic. So Walker just had a terrible second half of the game. And Croatia did something interesting and kind of nullify England's headers, which is they played zonal. So they played zonal defense instead of man-to-man. So each defender just defended like a zone, an area. So that way, when England like lined up in a line and ran in different directions, you could just care about your area. You didn't have to care about where all the players are running.
Yeah.
Which is kind of smart because like when Stones went up for that header in extra time, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, Croatia got so lucky for heading it out." No, that was part of their plan. Like Versailles realized that the ball wasn't going to go to his side, so he naturally he's been coached to go to the post and mark the post. So he did what he was supposed to do. So and that was the only good chance England had. Well, they had a good chance at the end of regulation. Harry Kane had a free header, but he didn't expect it to come to him. But Kane just kept honestly at times I thought Kane was playing center mid, and it just Kane can't really pass that well, so that obviously didn't work out.
Yeah.
And Sterling had a good game, just couldn't really have any shots, didn't really have any chances. Vida and Lovren just had great games. Like everyone in Croatia that needed to have a great game did, except for Strenic, like their left back, I think, and he was subbed off for Peebrich, and Peebrich had a great game. But even the midfields didn't even have that good of a game. They still won easily once the second half started, which is kind of crazy.
But Dowdge did a great job of coaching this team.
Yeah, he really did.
Just figuring out a way to counter England. He was absolutely crazy. And I also, as much as credit as I'm going to give him, I feel like England kind of lost it more than Croatia kind of won it. If you want to say, by the second half, Croatia deserved to win and stuff like that, I agree. But when adversity hit England in that second half, they just folded. There's no other way to put it. They just couldn't handle it. There was nothing they could do. It was almost as if they were helpless. Even when they weren't defending and they were trying to counterattack or trying to go on the attack, they didn't know how to create something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't know how to create a shot, create a chance, create something to give them a chance to get a second goal after the first half. It just kind of all fell apart with England. It was just kind of crazy to watch.
But that was mostly I feel like that mostly goes up to Croatia because after you're getting dominated and the ball is in your half for 20 minutes, that naturally happens to you, right? So and that was with Dalic telling his team of how to manhandle England so much to even change the way that they were aligned on the field, such that the wings in the mid were playing wing back. So that kind of press and midfield domination allowed them to get England in that position. And Southgate put in his substitutions way too late. Ashley Young should have came off a lot earlier. That was the side that they were destroying on. If Danny Rose came in earlier, maybe it would have been a different story.
Yeah. I just rather not think about the England game. It just makes me upset.
And to be honest, if you would have said before the tournament started, England's going to make the semifinal,
yeah,
you'd be happy with that, right? But if you would have went more specific,
not even I say that they would. I wouldn't believe it.
I mean, yeah, but if you went more if you went more specifically to say England would make the semifinal by beating the two teams they should beat in their group stage, losing to the B team of Belgium, and then beating Colombia and Sweden, and then losing to Croatia, then I'd be okay, that's expected. Because of the people they were playing, the people that they drew to play against in the knockout stage, you expect England to win those games. So yes, this is a great achievement for England, but they got super lucky with the draw.
Yeah.
And English fans are there's in the next World Cup, but you can't ever say that with the World Cup. Because that's just how random it is.
Way too it's so unpredictable.
Yeah, sure. And England has a young team, but there's a lot of holes in that defense. That defense is better at corner kicks than actually defending, and that makes no sense to me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That defense is better at attacking the corner kicks and trying to get goals with Harry Maguire and Stones than actually defending, and that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. The thing about the World Cup is that. Okay, so in comparison to basketball, there is a wide variety of wiggle room and for upsets. Because in NBA playoffs, when the series are best of 7, and you have to win 4, it's nearly impossible for the the worst team out of the two teams to win. It's not an exaggeration to say almost always the better team in a series wins, just because it's insanely hard for you to fluke 4 games, not even in a row, just in 7 games out of a 12, 13-day span to win 4 games. It's just insane. So when you're in the World Cup and you're only playing, I mean, you're playing more than one game, yes, but you're not playing the same team more than once. So
probably. There's still a mathematical chance that you'll play the same team twice, but
but
that's just irrelevant, kind of.
Right. So in the group stage, and you're playing one game, and you have to have a certain amount of points to move forward and stuff like that. And then there's the variance of groups. It depends on your group, and then it depends on how you guys played on a certain day and stuff. There's such a wide variety of randomness and unpredictability when it comes to the World Cup. Now, whether you like it or not, I mean, that's really up to the person. I kind of like that a lot. I don't really always expecting to know, this is the outcome of something like the NBA is at this point. But that's what I have to say about they have, when people say they have next year, because you never know. I mean, look at Germany. Are you kidding me? They actually lost in the group stage. That's absolutely insane. So to say you're going to have it next year or something, nothing is a guarantee when it comes to World Cup, because literally anything can happen.
But I mean, England has won the U21 and U17 World Cup, so I mean, they have a lot of young talent coming up, definitely. But I would not say England is making the next 4 years from now, a 4-year away prediction. I'm going to say England's not making that semifinal. They got way too lucky in their draw this year, and Brazil didn't even make it this year. Germany didn't make it. Italy wasn't here. Netherlands weren't even here. Spain didn't make it. Come on, dude.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
And to talk about the randomness of the World Cup, soccer's just in general a more random sport. It's all basketball is a game of matchups, but a single man can, I don't know, soccer is more not even personal matchups. It's more strategic matchups or tactics matchups. So Russia is arguably the worst team when you compare each personnel to Spain, but the way Russia played allowed them to have a chance, and then individual plays allowed them to take advantage of the chances that they got and win the game. So tactics allow variability to be really large in soccer, and then individual great plays individually allow the teams to take advantage of that variability. And that's even bigger in the World Cup, with everyone seeing the World Cup and such a large audience. These players naturally play better at the World Cup.
I think that really applies to all sports, because I feel the more players there are on a team, on a field or on a court at the same on the certain time, on an NBA court, there's 10 players at a time. On soccer, there's going to be 22 on the time. The more players there are, the less like you said about the personal matchups. The more players there are in a field court or whatever, the more coaching and team matters. If there's more players on a team, the coaching matters even more, because now it's impossible for one player to beat 11 players on a team and will his team to a win. Rather, in basketball, it's also not probable, but it's a lot easier of a job for one person to go through 5 players, if you see what I mean. So the more I see what you're saying, and when you're saying this, I believe it applies to all sports at the same time, because I feel the more players there are on a field, court, or whatever you want to call it, the more the less that star player has to control, and how much he can will his team to a victory or a championship or whatever.
I mean, and we saw that at this World Cup with Messi getting kind of blanketed by Croatia, and Ronaldo having trouble against Uruguay. It's easier for multiple people to guard a single man, obviously, and also with, when you have more people on the field, you need more coordination, and you need more advanced tactics to get past these multitude of people, right? So, yeah, naturally, coaching becomes more important as the number of people in a sport grow. Because, 1v1 basketball, don't need a coach. 2v2, 3v3, don't really need coaches. Once you get to 5v5, need a coach. 5-a-side soccer, indoor soccer, don't really need a coach. Everyone can see what's going on. But once you go to 11-a-side, outdoors, you need that coach who can see everything and, put yourself on, give your team a winning edge or, some kind of edge to help you win. That's important in soccer.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that's all we really have to say for that. For predictions for
why don't we predict that third place game first? Belgium, England.
Belgium, England. I think just based off what I've saw, I think Belgium's probably gonna win. I don't think by I don't. I'm gonna go 2-1 England or 2-1 Belgium.
Yeah, I would say the same. I'll go maybe even 3-2. Because England has firepower, and you don't want to underestimate England. They're actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
But I just can't see it happen. Belgium now has their right back, so everyone's back. Yeah. Courtois, Lukaku up top.
Yeah.
I'm just saying Belgium on this one 3-1, 3-2.
Yeah, for sure.
Now for the big daddy, the final.
Why did you say daddy like that?
I'm so tired. Big daddy.
Okay. France versus Croatia. For the sake of my well-being and my stability mentally, I'm just gonna hope that it's 2-0 France.
2-0.
2-0 France. That is what I'm seeing. Just because I feel like France. Okay, Croatia is probably still, even despite them having Conte and Pogba, I still feel like Croatia will still figure out a way to have a better midfield game than France. But I feel like up top, yes, they have Mandzukic, Perisic, Rebic, but France's attacking power, despite them being young, it's still very effective. And actually, honestly, it depends on what kind of day Giroud has.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say. It's going to heavily depend on what type of game Giroud has. But hopefully, assuming that he's at least playing average and not like what we saw against Belgium.
That was very average.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. That was one of his worst games. But hopefully, what I'm going to go with is I'm going to say 2-0 France.
I think there's going to be a couple of interesting parts of the field during the game. Okay. One's going to be the right side because I think Conte is going to try to, at least defensively, try to lock down that side, help out the back. So when Verselko's coming up, that's the side that they usually switch to and really attack from.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be interesting. And when Conte goes there, I think Papa is going to be manning the middle. So him against Rakitic and Modric will be interesting.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they're going to start Kramaric again. I kind of like Brozovic more. I mean, no, they started Brozovic. I like Kramaric more. Kramaric is more of an attacker, so it'll be kind of interesting to see that. Mbappe usually makes his run between the wing back and the center back, but that means it'd probably be Vida, because it'd probably be Vida that he makes his run against. But Vida did a very, very good job of marking Sterling and Rashford. So if he can keep that up, and he totally dominated Messi too. So if he can keep that up, they have a very good chance. But yeah, there's a lot of firepower on France, but if France win, I'm going to say 3-1. But I'm going to go Croatia 1-2-1.
Oh, wait, what?
Okay, so if France win, I think it's going to be a 3-1 game.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm calling a Croatia win because I have to. 2-1.
If France wins, I would have been right. Because I picked France to win the World Cup before this even started. And I would have been right. So
I mean, I never told anyone, but I would have bet money on France. If I had to bet money, I would have bet on France. They're the most complete team, in my opinion.
That's why I picked France to begin with.
Yeah.
I even said they could probably beat Germany if they went to a final, but
they never had to.
I can't really okay. I can't really disagree with you on the Croatia thing. They are a really good team and all that. So,
and I think they kind of feed off like the fact that they're like underappreciated and not really respected that much. That just like makes you like it gives them an edge even more. And Paris, no, I don't know. Paris just had a crazy game against England. That dude was on one. He was sprinting for the whole game. You know, getting back, stealing the ball, just ridiculous. Yeah. Anyway, so we've talked about the World Cup. Got some summer transfers to talk about.
Yep.
The first one I wrote down is kind of a minor one, but he's going to the Premier League, so Yarmolenko of Dortmund's going to West Ham. West Ham's made two big signings now, so I mean that's pretty good for them.
Yeah.
And apparently they're in talks with getting Payet back. So they love Payet.
I think Payet wants to go back.
Payet's legit. So
yes, he's legit. I like Payet. I'm not sure he wants to go back to West Ham though.
Yeah, he said he's open to it. Well, he's like privately.
Swear.
Wait, did you move away from your mic? You're like quieter.
My mic's right here.
All right, that's fine then, I guess. Yeah, he's like there's been sources reporting that like he's looking at a Premier League return, and like the leader is like West Ham or something.
I mean, it's possible. He hasn't really made news or anything since like he left.
Yeah, and he wasn't even picked for this France team.
Yeah, you see what I mean? Like nobody really talks about Payet since he's moved, but that's. I mean, I don't know Payet, of course. So, but I mean, I feel like that's an incentive to be like. I wouldn't say he was irrelevant when he went back to what was it? Marseille. But I feel like his like he would be more in the news. He'd be more talked about when he went if he goes back to the Premier League.
Yeah, the Premier League just has more publicity.
Do you remember his free kicks?
Yeah, they were insane.
Yeah, like this man was on one. So if you went back to the Premier League, I would have no. If you went back to West Ham, I still wouldn't have a problem with it. But yeah.
But yeah, they're putting some other. They're putting West Ham's putting a good team together with Yarmolenko on the wing and Wilshere in the middle. Decent.
Yeah.
And then next one, Lucas Torreira to Arsenal. I don't even know who this dude is, but apparently he's a big player.
I don't know either.
I think he's like an Uruguayan guy that was playing at this tournament at the World Cup, and like he was playing well, so it kind of upped his value a little bit. But Unai Emery just going on a mad one there in Arsenal, just signing players left and right.
Yeah,
but we'll see if that actually turns into results on the pitch. So some big Serie A news or rumors: Higuain to Chelsea.
I don't believe it. I did read that somewhere. I don't see why he would want to leave the Serie A. He's gonna I wouldn't say he's gonna build like a foundation in like Juventus or something, but like he can definitely improve his resume, especially with the new man that's coming in. So like I mean, if I don't really see him going to Chelsea or leaving. But
I can see Chelsea making a decent push for him because Morata's been trash.
Yeah.
And apparently Morata to Dortmund is a thing too.
I did read about that too. Yeah.
If I was Dortmund, I wouldn't get him.
Really?
Yeah, because he's just I don't know. He's just lost his touch. Maybe he needs Dortmund's really good at like getting the most out of a player, so maybe he needs that.
Yeah.
So maybe yeah. I don't know. I just don't see it. But
yeah. If he went, I mean, I'd be like, why? But it's whatever. I feel like he's just gonna stay with Juventus.
Yeah, and some other. Speaking of Juventus, Alexandro and Mandzukic to Man United.
What?
You haven't seen this?
No.
Yeah, it's not happened, but it's rumored.
Oh, I thought you said. Oh, Jesus Christ, Addy, calm down.
There were rumors that they were going to announce it tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
To Man United? Both of them?
Yeah. Yes, that's right. Oh, yeah. And then after, if they sold Alexander, they're going to try to get Marcelo from Madrid.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Man United, if they somehow managed to get Alexandro, just got a lot better.
Because their backs are pretty weak.
Yeah, they would have replaced Shaw with
But Alexandro. Luke Shaw's the future of the English Premier League.
Like
Shaw's decent, but Mourinho doesn't give him a chance really.
But I mean, when you're replacing him with Alexandro,
it's not really comparable.
Insane. I mean, if that actually happens, they just got better. I mean, Alexandro, Pogba, Alexis Sanchez. Like, oh come on, like that team might just do something. De Gea, I shouldn't actually say. I shouldn't say De Gea after his recent performance. But
he's still one of the best.
Yeah.
He just didn't have he just had an awful World Cup. Maybe saved one shot on target.
Yeah. He'll bounce back though.
Yeah, he's a great keeper. That's all I've got written down. You got some NBA stuff?
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, we forgot the big one. We forgot the big one. The big transfer, Mahrez.
Oh yeah. Oh, Mahrez to Man City, but
oil money.
What?
Oil money.
Oil.
I hate that club so much.
Yeah, I really don't like Manchester City at all. It's just bunch of rich.
It's just money. Like it's not even like earned. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like it's the Carson McGee's of the freaking soccer world.
It's fine. Like, he'll never listen to this anyway.
Rich kids. Yeah, who just get the money and they can just do whatever they want. Like they just have so much money and they can buy.
You're really going in on Carson. Jesus Christ.
It's just something.
Watch out, dude! Like, you're gonna get a cryptic tweet. You're gonna get a cryptic tweet about it. When my friends don't have my back. Carson, we're just joking. We love you, man. Please don't sue me.
All right, but Manchester City, they just have so much money, and they're just.
If you're listening to this,
they're literally a team without history.
Will, if you're listening to this, Manchester City sucks.
Who?
Will's a big City fan.
Why?
He's a humongous City fan.
Eat my dick, Will. Anyways.
He's a City fan and he's a he's a Warriors fan.
Dude, oh my god. So he's like the worst combination of sports fan you could find.
Yeah. He's not a Patriots fan, so I mean.
Oh. Okay.
Anyway, Mahrez. I didn't really like it because like their midfield is already like so packed, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, I guess they could use a wingers, and David Silva's aging, so I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got Leroy Sané on one side, they got even Bernardo Silva on the other side, so...
It's going to be interesting to see how Mahrez is going to play in Manchester City.
I think it's going to be more interesting to see how Leicester will try to replace that. Like
with Leicester. They went from title contention to firing their head coach to... having Conte like sold away, now Mahrez, Vardy will be gone soon. It's just.
I mean, though, like once like they actually won, people knew that they were just going to get rated for their talent. Like it was just obvious.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So like, Conte going was expected because he had the largest potential to bring the biggest impact. You know. Because he's arguably the best CDM in the world.
I think he is.
Yeah, in my opinion, he is. He's just not very physical, but like he just has so much intuition about the game. He's just one of the best.
Yeah.
But and then the next one to naturally go, or like the next big one to naturally go, not including like Danny Drinkwater and all that, was Mahrez.
Yeah.
So naturally, Vardy's got to be thinking about leaving soon.
Just crazy to think about.
That team was a hell of a team, though. It was really well put together, that Leicester team. Probably one of my favorite Premier League teams.
Yeah.
It was just nice to watch.
All right. Let's transfer to the NBA, Addy.
Oh.
Jeremy Lin went to the Hawks.
All right, next one. I don't care about Jeremy Lin. I like Jeremy Lin, though. Like, I think he's a good player. Yeah. He just gets a lot of shit. I think a lot of shit he gets is just for, like... this is a hot take, but I think the shit he gets, like, he's over-scrutinized because he's Asian.
Okay. I think it's just because it's... So, going back, I'm going to go way back to, like, Linsanity. Yeah. So, like, people were having, like... They saw him play. He was on fire for, like, a very, like, long period of time. Like, an entire... Until, like, the All-Star break. Like, that's how long he was, like...
Yeah, but they were like 3 weeks on there where like he was unstoppable almost.
Yeah.
It was just crazy.
So I think what happened was he was playing at a time where he was playing really well. He was on fire, but then like I'm not trying to like hate on the man or like disrespect him, but like the expectations just got too high for him to handle. Like like the team's expectations, the people's expectations of what he would produce, like every day, like they were now expecting him to drop like 23 points a game while averaging like 7 assists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it got to a point where he was a good player. Like he's still a good player, but it got to the point where the expectations were just too much for him to handle. And like for somebody who's now like a backup point guard, like that's all like he is. Like he's just the expectation for him to become like this all-star type player who could have been like, you know, the new Asian player next to like Yao Ming or something like that. I think it was just like a lot for him to handle, and it was like ultimately just too much. And like people just kept setting the bar higher and higher after every game that he was doing, after every game winner he was hitting for that period of time. I felt like it was just too much for like him to handle, and that's just not it just wasn't a realistic expectation for him to like achieve throughout his career.
You know, I was even going to say like the Knicks didn't even do that well that year, but like that year they actually did. They went 36-30. Like that's not a bad year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Wait, don't teams play more than 66 games?
I think it was the lockout season.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, I was gonna say like he was doing it on a crappy team, but he was doing it on a decent team. How did they do in the playoffs? Knicks. Oh, they played Miami, so rip. But I mean, looking at his stats from that year, that was probably his best year until actually like this last year, I think. Yeah. Actually, no. Wait. Okay, that's so stupid. I'm an idiot.
What do you mean?
I'm looking at the stats, right? Yeah. And Jeremy Lin's got 14.6 points in the 11-12 season. I'm scrolling down. Oh, like, oh, wow, he has 18 this past season. I look over at games played, 1.
Yeah, because he got injured.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, dude, that was actually really sad. Like, he just landed and he said, I'm done. Dude, that's actually pretty sad. Like,
but like, looking at his stats, he's a solid backup, though.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But
that's what I'm saying.
But like, this was when Houston was just throwing money at play. You know what I mean? Houston was acting like the Knicks and just throwing money and hoping that they would pan out, like Dwight Howard, Jeremy Lin, and then the Lakers, of course, threw more money because they're an idiot. Yeah, stupid franchise. At least they were. They're making some better moves now, but they were a stupid franchise trying to get back to relevancy.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think the expectations made him crash. I just think they were unrealistic expectations. But he's a decent baller. Like, I'd have him as my backup. Or like, not backup, but like on my my rotation. I'd have him in my rotation. Yeah. He's a nice player, and then he's also a great guy. So there's nothing ever bad about him. And he went to Harvard. Can't really hate on him.
So, let's talk about the ghost in the room, Isaiah Thomas, to the Denver Nuggets. Addy.
That's the shortest ghost I've ever seen.
Oh, okay. You didn't have to do him like that.
It's okay. He's never listening to it. He's busy with his veterans minimum.
Okay, Addy, come on. Like, you want to chill out.
Oh my god.
So, your reaction?
I feel bad for him, but I'm not surprised, and that's what he deserves, in my opinion.
Why does he deserve it?
Because, he played well at the Celtics, but the Celtics are system ball, right? So it doesn't. Mm-hmm. It's more like it's really likely for it to not translate well to other teams, and we saw that with the Cavs. Isaiah's not really.
But it is the Cavs, though.
I mean, it is the Cavs, but Isaiah's not really a team player.
Yeah.
Like, he's more of an iso ball guy, and like we said in the last podcast, iso ball is just dying in the NBA.
Yeah.
So with all that, and this dude is 5'9",
yeah,
and he can't play defense. He can't rebound.
It's not the fact that he can't play defense. It's just that his size limits his cap on defense.
I mean, yeah, so it limits his defense, which makes him not that effective at defense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like looking at his steals, like it's only like 0.4 a game. That's not that good.
Yeah.
At least for a 5'9" point guard, if you're not able to contest a shot, at least get a steal or something.
Yeah.
But he's not even shooting that well from three. Like he's veterans minimum, maybe a little bit more, but when you give him the minimum, you're not taking a risk, and you might be getting a reward. So can't blame him.
I think I honestly feel bad for him because when you go from dropping like 50-point games in the playoffs to veteran minimum, it's just kind of sad. No,
it's sad, it's sad, but when you look at this, like I'm just looking at the stats right now. Like when I think of Isaiah Thomas, I'll be like, all right, field goal percentage, probably around like 45, maybe even 50. When I'm thinking about that good season he had at Boston, I'm like field goal percentage probably around 45 or 50. 3-pointers probably around 40 or 45. Free throw probably around 90. You know what I mean? Like that's what I expect from Isaiah. And even if your points per game drop, your percentages naturally should stay the same. But like he's getting 46 field goal percentage. He's only shooting like 38 from three. With all the clips that we see on highlights, you'd expect him to shoot like 40. You know what I mean? Or like 48. I mean 45.
48.
I was reading 38 and said 48. Or like 45. It's like that's just all you see is just him making these ridiculous threes. But I guess he just takes so many threes. And then his free throw percentage, like he's one of the best free throw shooters. So he's really good in iso ball, but he's kind of like a Melo in a way, in the way he plays. Like you would expect his numbers to be better, but they're not. And he's just not that efficient. And if the NBA is craving efficiency now, because in my opinion, efficiency is important, and it's what allows these system teams to win, and it's what lets you get the most bang for your buck. And isolation is dying. So Isaiah is it's kind of like how one-dimensional centers are dying in the game. These iso ball players that can't play defense that well are also dying in the game because they're naturally used to the volume of shooting and not being efficient, and they just can't translate that to efficiency because it's just in their blood to not be efficient.
Okay. So I feel bad, but it's it's a testimony to Brad Stevens on how well of a coach he is. Like it's absolutely he got so much out of Isaiah Thomas that he almost averaged 30 a game. Like that's absolutely insane. And then he went from that to averaging I think like 18 at Cleveland, and 14. Then ultimately 14. Oh, and then ultimately lower at the Lakers.
No, he did better. He got 15 and a half.
No.
I mean that's mathematically that's like better.
But I feel like he had like the perfect system in Boston, and I understand it's a business and it's true you're not going to win a championship when your best player is 5'9", but like I felt like he just gave so much to them, and then ultimately they just kind of ripped it from him and said, "Hey, sorry, bye," and they just gave him a phone call and said, "Yeah, you're done."
Well, when you look at that Boston team, he had a lot of players that kind of covered up his defensive, and that's more of a testament to Brad Stevens that he had these players that he started with that also covered up his defensive inabilities. Avery Bradley, Jay Crowder, Smart. These players are in my opinion, defense first players. So when you play him with Isaiah, it allows Isaiah to focus on offense and allow him to be like this iso ball player that dishes to his teammates every once in a while. And while on defense, he can just hope that the point guard isn't good or just let his team make up for his inefficiencies. And he can't really do that at the Lakers, and he couldn't do that at the Cavs.
Right, and that's just kind of like how they built around Michael Jordan. It's just like, oh, you're at this point you're the best scorer of all time. How about we just build you around like insane defenders, and ultimately adding Dennis Rodman, which was like fucking overkill,
and one of the best 3-point shooters in the game.
So like I see what you mean, but it's like to go from your glory days of averaging 30, being a franchise player, being in the Eastern Conference Finals, and like being loved to 1 year later, like what, 13, 14 months later, you're getting a veteran's minimum. Like I understand, he didn't have the best of seasons. Actually, this was like his worst since probably his rookie. But like you can't tell me he's not worth more than a veteran's minimum. Like, come on now. Like that's entering like I'm pretty sure Dwayne Wade's getting paid more than that. But like
But like
Isaiah
if
Thomas,
to get the most out of Thomas, you need to build a system around him, and no team wants to do that. No team is going to build a system around like a 29-year-old player who can't play defense. So, you know what I mean?
yeah.
If you're going to play,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel bad for him because it's not even at a point where like, because all his life he's been doubted because of his size, and he was picked 60th, and then he had to go through Sacramento and all this stuff. But like, it's just sad knowing like he put all this work to the point where he really was a franchise player, and then they just ripped it from him, and now players like teams are not willing to like build a team around him because they're like, yeah, you're 29, so you're in your prime, but in a few years you won't be. And there's no way like you're gonna be like enough to beat like the Warriors or something at this point. So yeah, sorry, bye. And they understand like even if it wasn't the Warriors, like yeah, you're not gonna win a championship with somebody that small. It's just like kind of like sad to see. That's how I'm seeing it.
but it's also because he hasn't played so many games in the last couple of years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or at least like this year, he hasn't played that many games. He's just so injured all the time. So when he's injured, he's a system ball guy, can't play defense, needs ISO, isn't efficient at offense. You know, it's unfortunate, but it's logical and it's reasonable and it's somewhat expected when you look more deeply into it.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about one more, and that's it. Jimmy Butler declined a 4-year, I think it was like $110 million deal with the Timberwolves.
Yeah, he wants out.
And, now I'm gonna ask you to elaborate on that.
Well, there were reports that he didn't like, and I'm paraphrasing, like the childish, non-competitive, no initiative to win atmosphere at the Timberwolves that was exemplified by the younger players, probably aimed at Wiggins and Towns. And yes, Wiggins and Towns are two of the better players, two of the better young players in the NBA. But they were, if I remember correctly, Wiggins is alright. He has potential.
No, he's one of the worst, number one drafts of all time.
Yeah, no, he's not. No, he's not that bad.
Yes, he is. You can look it up. I promise you, he is.
No, he's not.
For somebody like Addy, we can argue about this. I promise you, he's not as good as you think he is.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna look up.
He's underperforming so much with his size and athleticism. It's crazy.
Like, yeah, he is, and that's because he never had a jump shot.
He can still drop that hoe.
I mean, dude.
What?
Okay. I mean, he averaged 17, 20, 23, and 17 in his years. That's not the worst ever.
Say that again?
I got these right. 17, 20, 23, 17.
He averaged 17, 20, and 23.
No, points throughout his 4 years.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, he could do better than that.
I know, but that doesn't make him one of the worst first-rounders of all time. Like, we're comparing this man to...
I can do... How about this? I'll do
Brown.
a video.
We're comparing this man to Anthony Bennett.
I'll do a video over this.
Danilo Gallinari. Sam Bowie. Greg Oden. There are worse busts out there.
Greg Oden was just injury prone. That's it.
Yeah,
but I promise you, I will do a video over this, and I will prove to you, like, just how much, like, how he's not even playing to his like fullest, and how, like, yes, he even compares. No, okay, he's not as extreme as what Anthony Bennett, but like he's just not as good as you expect him to be.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, getting back to Jimmy Butler, I heard specifically that he had problems with Anthony Towns, and that he didn't like. I don't think it was he had a problem with him personally. I felt like he just didn't like playing with Karl Anthony Towns. Like I think that Jimmy Butler didn't like playing with Karl Anthony Towns just because they didn't really mesh well.
I mean, Anthony Towns, kind of played like doo-doo in the playoffs.
Yeah, he got exposed.
15 points a game in the playoffs, bro?
Yeah,
that's kind of trash.
Not have the. Yeah, he did not have the best of like.
Who they come up with? Who they go against this year? The Rockets?
What? No. Wait, no. They went against the Warriors, didn't they?
Really?
Yeah.
They have no one inside. Who is? He got dominated by JaVale McGee. JaVale's not even that bad in my opinion, but I mean, to be fair, Jimmy Butler only dropped 16 a game this year in the playoffs, so
yeah.
I don't know why Butler's talking. I honestly think Butler's one of the most overrated players in the NBA.
You think so?
I mean, statistics-wise, like his win share...
Oh, never mind. The Timberwolves played the Rockets.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
They played the Spurs.
The Spurs, yeah, because the Spurs got one game out of them, yeah. So, I mean, Butler, like, win share-wise is nice, but I just never really bought into how he's a really good two-way player because I'm not really bought into his offensive game.
Who?
Like, Jimmy Butler. And I've never seen him really shut down anyone defensively, even though people say he's really good at defense. But I'm just kind of taking...
No, he's very good at defense.
I'm just kind of taking their word for it. I just haven't seen it firsthand.
I think Jimmy Butler is a good player. His offensive he's not a player that you can build a team around, no. But he can definitely be a second or third player. Like I think that's for sure. I think he has no problem with deferring and passing the ball. Or he's definitely the player who's going to do whatever it takes to win. And that's what I like about Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Like he has a winning attitude. Like you said, he didn't really like the atmosphere over in Minnesota, but he cares about winning and he'll do whatever it takes to win. And I think I really like about that. I really like that about him. If he ends up at, I don't know what kind of destination he could end up at. Lakers possibly, just because Lakers are always trying to, get after stars and stuff. But yeah, it would be really cool to see where Jimmy Butler ends up.
I think he'd be a good addition to the Lakers. I'd like that.
I'd like that too. Yeah.
Because I like him more than Paul George. So
yeah.
And I don't like him as much as Kawhi, but I still like that addition.
They'd be a good team though. Butler and Kawhi and LeBron. Solid team.
Who's inside though?
The center?
Yeah.
JaVale.
Hey, my dude.
Shut up.
I like JaVale.
Shaq'd in a fool.
JaVale McGee.
All right. Is there anything else you would like to talk about, Addy?
You want to talk about the vlog that we did today?
Oh, yeah. The vlog may or may not be going up. It really depends. I'm going to look over the footage.
Yeah,
might do some editing.
Moose and I had lunch today, so at the lab, so he decided to vlog it a bit.
Yeah, I saw Addy for the first time in a month.
Vlogging is so much fun.
It was fun. We got to talk. We had a soccer game. We're both exhausted. It's 10:55 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just pooped right now.
Yeah.
But you might stay tuned. I don't know if it'll go up. I might talk about it. I might let you guys know if it is. But other than that, that's really all I have to say.
Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. It's shorter than usual, but there really wasn't much to talk about. We just wanted to get one episode in for the World Cup final started, and I know everybody's gonna be watching that. But we're gonna talk about that after Sunday too. We don't know when yet, but we'll definitely be talking about the final. We'll be keeping you guys posted on how we feel about the new NBA free agency stuff that comes out. We don't know when it's coming out, but whenever it comes out, we'll keep you guys posted. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yep.
Anything you want to add, Addy?
No, I got nothing.
All right. So thank you guys for listening, and stay tuned for the next episode.